Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing fine. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, the Daily Current Affairs. And as I always suggest, not to make any notes because, first of all, it is provided through my Telegram channel. And secondly, I just want your attention for the next 15 minutes so that you can understand how UPSC can ask questions. These are the various events that we have to cover. The first question was a practice question for you all. Which of the following is a constitutional body? That means, which of the following bodies were constituted according to the articles of the Constitution? So, when you go to the basics, you will easily understand this question. That is why I tell you prelims is a happy blend of fact and concept. So, concept is a constitutional body is a body that has been mandated according to the Constitution, established according to the Constitution. Central Information Commission came into existence through an act. National Human Rights Commission has come into existence through an act. So that is why these two are statutory bodies, because they have been established under their respective statutes. Then we talk about the Central Bureau of Investigation. It gets its powers from the DPSC Act of 1946. However, we have to understand this is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body, very interestingly. Okay, because it doesn't have any sort of separate act for it. And then we have the Election Commission, which has been formulated according to the Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. So the correct answer will be option D. Hiralal Samaria has become the India's first Dalit Chief Information Commissioner. Recently, there was a lot of controversy behind him as well, because opposition said that they were kept in the dark regarding his appointment. Now, Central Information Commission came into existence in 2005 according to the Rights of Information Act of 2005, hence not a constitutional body. CIC is there, the chairperson as the CIC. Not more than 10 information commissioners are also there who are appointed by the president. Now, the president can appoint the CIC as well as the other information commissioner according to the recommendation of a committee. This committee is headed by the Prime Minister, who is the chairperson, the leader of the opposition of the Lok Sabha, and a Union Cabinet Minister who is nominated by the Prime Minister himself or herself. Then we have the NHRC, which is a statutory body. It was established in 1993 according to the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. And the CBI was actually established by a resolution of the Ministry of Home Affairs, and later it was transferred to the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pension. Also, it is currently functioning as an attached office. It was recommended by the Santhanam Committee, and the CBI operates under the DSP, I said DPSC, sorry for that, DSP, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946, and it is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. Moving on, the Election Commission of India was actually established as an autonomous constitutional body according to the Constitution of India on 25th January 1950, which is also celebrated as National Voters' Day, and its secretariat is in New Delhi. It is in the part 15 of the Constitution and works according to the Article 324 to 329 of the Indian Constitution. Next, consider the following statements. The President appoints the Chief Justice of India, and the Chief Justice of India appoints the judges of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court Number of Judges Act of 1956 provided for the maximum number of judges, including the Chief Justice of India, to be 10. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? Very small detail I have changed here. Very small. In the second statement. First is actually something that you must know if you're a serious UPSC aspirant. The President appoints the Chief Justice of India and also the judges of the Supreme Court. The CJI, as accordingly, may give certain recommendation, of course, but it is the President who appoints the judges. So, first statement is incorrect. The President appoints the Chief Justice of India and also the judges of the Supreme Court. So, don't get confused. The next thing is the Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956. Only true UPSC aspirants can understand what change I have made here. Here it is written including the Chief Justice of India to be 10. No. Excluding the Chief Justice of India, the maximum of number of judges of the Supreme Court is to be 10. So neither first is correct, nor second is correct, neither one nor two. See, UPSC will do these kind of things in order to put pressure on you. Next time when you know these kind of answers, and when you come back home and think that, oh, I knew this, still I marked the incorrect answer. What happens? That you succumbed to pressure. UPSC will create pressure by time by psychological means and by everything. Every ammo it has, it will use against you, because prelims is not formulated to pass you, it is formulated to fail you. So you have to see what kind of arsenal UPSC is employing against you. Alright, moving on. See, 3 High Court Chief Justices have been elevated to the Supreme Court. Now this makes the Supreme Court work at its full strength, that is of 34 judges as of the parliamentary sanction of 2019. Now the Supreme Court judges have to be 34. Full strength it is. Delhi High Court Chief Justice Satish Chandra Sharma has been elevated. Rajasthan High Court Chief Justice Augustine George Massey and Guwahati High Court Chief Justice Sandeep Mehta. These were appointed as the top court judges. The sanctioned strength of the Supreme Court is 34, which also includes the Chief Justice of India. And who determines this strength? The Parliament does it. Okay, the Supreme Court originally said that excluding the Chief Justice of India, the maximum strength would be 10. Consider the following statements. Auroras are patterns of bright lights in the sky that are seen when particles ejected by the sun interact with the magnetic field around the earth. Auroras have never been seen at the equator and they are observed only at the poles. During the ascending phase of the solar cycle, more auroras are likely to be observed. So how many of the statements given above are correct? Recently, red aurora, an intense red aurora has been, caught by the observatory at Ladakh. That means at the equators also they are visible. And this generally happens during the ascending phase of the solar cycle. The solar cycle is of 11 years, and when we are in the ascending cycle, more solar flare activity takes place. More solar activity takes place means more interaction with the magnetic field of the earth. That is why more auroras. Okay, and the more intense the aurora activity is going to be, the larger area it is going to reach, like the equator. Alright, so auroras, yes, they are patterns of bright lights in the sky that are seen when particles ejected by the sun interact with the magnetic field around the earth. This is correct. Auroras have been seen at the equator. Generally, they are observed at poles but also at the equator. They have been reported. The first is correct, second is incorrect. And during the ascending cycle of the solar cycle, ascending phase of the solar cycle, more solar activity takes place, hence more auroras. The third is also correct. First and third are correct. Second is not. Two only will be the correct answer. The Hanle and Merak observatories in Ladakh spotted a phenomenon which is very uncommon in India, and this is red aurora. At Hanle, basically, it's a dark sky repository, as in the pollution due to light is controlled over here. That is why it becomes easier for it to observe. Moving on to the next part, this is the red aurora that we are talking about. Auroras are actually patterns of bright lights when magnetic field around the earth is interacting with the solar flares. It happens, all right, and it is usually visible closer to poles. However, right now in India is also closer to equator. Of course, equator passes very near to the portions of India. That is why it is nearly at the equator. But reports have also suggested the most southern northern lights have been witnessed during the massive solar storm of 1859, known as the Carrington event. Aurora borealis was actually seen at Honolulu, and this was pretty close to the equator. All right, and that is why these kind of informations are important for us. A higher than usual number of aurora events are likely to be visible in the next 2 years. Why? Because right now we are in the ascending phase of the solar cycle, and when this solar cycle goes on, solar activities increase and decrease. Right now it is increasing, and right now we are going to witness it till 2025, because that time, happy Diwali, that time it is going to peak and then it will eventually come down. Moving on, consider the following statements. I have already covered this in one of my classes today. If you watched that class, you can answer this question really well. Statement 1 says, mini flare, a viral satellite, literally attaches to the helper mind flare at the point where the capsid meets the tail. Some of you must be thinking, what is this question? This question is doable if you have watched that class. Mini flare contained a specific gene for integrating into its host. So choose the correct answer using the following codes. First of all, you have to know about what is a viral satellite. This is not the satellite that we launch or the heavenly bodies. A viral satellite is actually a virus, and it is a vampire virus. That means it infects other viruses. Why virus is named as vampire virus? Because it latches itself between the capsid, this is the capsid of the virus and this is the tail. Here only a vampire virus by the name of mini flare has latched itself, and with the help of this helper, this is known as helper, the victim virus, and the one who has latched or which has infected the other virus, the helper virus, is actually known as satellite. Okay, so satellite and helper, this is the relationship between them. So many flare of viral satellite literally attaches to the helper at a point where the capsid, here is the capsid, meets the tail, and here is the neck supposedly, like vampires bite on the neck as we see in the movies. Similarly it does it. That is why vampire virus. Statement 1 is correct. And mini flare, which is the viral satellite, the one which is infecting, it did not have any specific gene for integrating itself to the host. That means it is completely relying on the helper so that it can take it forward. Alright, the first is correct, second is incorrect, statement 1 is correct, 2 is not. Alright, the vampire viruses have been found for the first time, although it has happened in the USA, and although the theory of its existence was around since 1973, since decades. Because earlier it was suggested that there are viruses. Viruses do infect humans like coronavirus and the rest, but they also infect other species, and even within their own species they infect. So I have said this, it's like a karmic justice that viruses are also infecting viruses. Viruses can also get sick. Woohoo! So this is what the vampire virus is. And here is the mini flare. This is the mini flare. This is the satellite virus or viral satellite. And it has attached itself to the mind flare. This is the helper or the victim virus. And with the help of this only, it goes ahead. Viral satellites are actually, in theory, they have been talked about. In 1973, bacteriophage 2. It is a virus that infects the gut bacterium E. coli. This infection sometimes leads to two different types of viruses emerging, phage P2 and phage P4. Phage P4 is a temperate one because it actually integrates into the chromosome of its host cell. This is the host cell and this is the chromosome. So P4 will go inside and it will remain dormant, asleep. But P2, the other one, will latch itself and start giving direction to the P4 to make viral copies of itself. This is how they work. And as I have already told you about this in one of my classes, I will tell you here as well. This is the head which consists of the DNA of the virus, bacteriophage if we are talking about. This is the tail, and the tail also has a pointy end. Through this pointy end only, the virus, the bacteriophage basically, is able to puncture the bacteria, and through this tail, it launches the DNA inside the bacteria. Once the DNA goes inside the bacteria, they start to replicate itself. The virus will replicate itself and finally the bacteria will die. It will explode. The pressure will be such. Moving on. With respect to the Conventional Armed Forces in Europe Treaty, consider the following statements. It was signed in 1990 and it eliminated the Soviet Union's overwhelming quantitative advantage in conventional weapons in Europe. It was designed to establish a military balance between NATO and the Warsaw Treaty Organization. Which of the statements given above is correct? Recently, Russia withdrew from the treaty. And yes, it was signed on specifically November 19, 1990. And it eliminated Soviet Union's overwhelming quantitative advantage. That means the number of tanks and the rest of the things it has in terms of conventional weapon. It wanted to establish a military balance between NATO and also the Warsaw Treaty Organization. Both are correct. Both 1 and 2 will be the correct answer. So NATO allies are not happy with the withdrawal of Russia from this particular treaty, and the Conventional Armed Forces in Europe Treaty is sometimes known as the cornerstone of European security. It eliminated the Soviet Union's overwhelming advantage when it comes to quantitative advantage, the number of tanks and the rest of the things it could place between the Ural Mountains and the Atlantic Ocean, so that the kind of deployment that happens between NATO and Warsaw Organization, this Warsaw members, this remains stable and at equals. Okay, it was designed to prevent either alliance from amassing forces for a blitzkrieg type of offensive and establish a military balance between NATO and the Warsaw Treaty Organization. Consider the following: Taj Mahal, Fatehpur Sikri, Sonbhadra Fossil Park and Agra Fort. How many of the above is our UNESCO World Heritage Site in Uttar Pradesh? So Taj Mahal is, Fatehpur Sikri is, Agra Fort is. You have to tell me the rest of them. Sonbhadra right now is in the process of getting that tag. So 1, 2, 4, 3 only will be the correct answer. The 1400 million year old fossil park is in the Sonbhadra district of Uttar Pradesh, is in the process of getting a tag under the UNESCO as the World Heritage, so that tourism can increase, and it is near the Salkhan in Sonbhadra district. It is one of the oldest and largest fossil parks in Asia, and the algae and stromatolites type of fossils are found here. This is a prelims fact that you have to remember. Now, this is a practice question. The first ever Indus X investors meet was conducted between India and UK, India and Australia, India and USA, India and Japan. You have to answer me this correctly. Let me take the names of those students who have answered my last question correctly so that you can answer this one as well. Stay with me for a moment, please. So many of you have answered it correctly. Gopesh, Kanika, Shruti, Mandeep, Priya, thank you so much. Rashika, Manish, Unnati, Shantanu, Manasvi, Prabhat, Rupesh, Vishal, Pragati, Sonu Kumar, Kumar, SK, Komal, my goodness, Anshika, Jury, Jury Devi, Vivek, thank you so much, Jury, Vijaya, Anamika, Devi, Shubham, Shashi, Ritu, Aryan, Ankit, Nagasai, Indrauttara, Abhishek, Abhijit, Mindful Shubh, Selva, Siddharth, Mansi, Shubhendu, Dr. Priya, then Suresh, Destiny, Nityanand, thank you so much. Aditya, Aditya has also given us certain facts. Srinivas, Swati, Mithilesh, Raghuveer. Thank you so much for answering the last question. Answer this one as well. Stay updated.